What's up, everybody? So in today's video, we are going to be talking about this mamma jamma right here. Super excited to get into it. It is going to be my review on the Zero Breeze Mark II. Overall breakdown, what I have seen it do, possibilities, what it can be used for, the comparisons to other AC units that are out there on the market that I have personally tested and touched. There's all that stuff in this video coming up right now. Alright guys, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. What I do here is mostly van life content. I call my vans GHOST, stands for Ground Home Operation Stealth Transportation. I've done 2 van builds, and both of those vans I lived in a combination of 3.5 years. And then I went out and built a Jeep Gladiator into an overlanding rig because I just wanted to test to see what I could do. And it was pretty cool. Now I'm doing a 3rd van build, or Ghost 4 overall. And that one is a low top Ford Econoline, so it's gonna be really interesting. I also do traveling, I show off other people's builds, I try to show other companies that do certain things, but go check out all the other videos on my page. But we're gonna get right into this thing. I've got a lot of questions about this since I've been posting about it on my Instagram, and I actually did a video with this already. If you have watched my channel before, you know that I am very transparent and very open about certain things. Yes, Zero Breeze did give me this. They asked me to do a review after I did my first test run with it. To be 100% honest with everybody, I went into this actually thinking I was not gonna like it, and I ended up liking it quite a bit. I'm not gonna go over the things that you can pretty much find on the internet. Go to the Zero Breeze website, it'll give you dimensions. I mean, I can tell you, like with my little tape measure here, that the thing is roughly 22, 23 inches long, and with the battery attached to it, it is about 15 inches high, in the width of, I don't know, roughly 9, 10 inches. Those are rough. You can go to the website and go check that out. Things like this come with it, which actually mount to that right there, and that is a directional tube because the cool air comes out of this right here. And then these guys are actually attached to the back. And I did do a video on this. Did a unrealistic test to it. I took it out into the middle of the Nevada desert on actually July 4th. So it was the middle of the summer. Why would anybody do this? I wanted to just see if I could, cool down my tent. The tent actually cooled 20 to 30 degrees than what the outside temperature was. In the sun, the outside temperature was roughly 120 degrees. Air, or whatever you want to call it, the temperature was roughly like 108, 110 or something like that. But obviously that sun beating down on you, it can get pretty hot pretty quickly. The video, again, was unrealistic. I was close enough to home that I did not suffer from any heat exhaustion. Good video if you guys want to go watch that one. Did run this on like full blast super mode or whatever it is. It depleted the battery, which is down here, pretty quickly, about 3 hours, maybe closer to 4, but it did not last as long as I wanted. But again, I ran it. And a lot of this has to do with the temperature and the climate that you're in, as well as where you're putting it. You can't talk about cooling or heating without talking about insulation. I was in a tent. There is no insulation in a tent. It's fabric. It's very little, if any at all. Which brings me to my next point. If you are thinking about using this into a van, you have to consider the insulation in your vehicle or in your box truck or in your van or RV or whatever it is. Insulation is extremely important, how you do it, and windows. The windows act as a magnifying glass. This is not an insulation video, it's about the Zero Breeze. Okay, what do I really like about this? It is 100% portable. This is not plugged into anything. It's lightweight. I actually have a bum hand right now. I cut myself with a knife, cutting zip ties, long story with that, and I was still able to pick that up right now. It's really nice in that way that I can kind of maneuver it around, whether it's, in my new van or maybe in my tent. I actually lent it to a friend of mine, Miles. He didn't have AC in his car, and we were driving a long distance. We were caravanning out to somewhere, and he actually asked me if he could use this as his AC, and yeah, of course, I'm gonna let him use it. He put it on the seat next to him, and bada bing, bada boom, he had AC in his van while he was driving it. What's really cool about the Mark II is it has a detachable battery that's rechargeable, obviously. Again, I don't know the specs off top of my head. They say it can run like 5 to 6 hours, and that's on just like eco mode or regular cooling mode. It also has a fan on it, which is really cool. Will this cool down an entire van? I can tell you this right now, this will not cool down like another AC unit can cool down. The BTUs on this is roughly 2,300. And then like if you look at like a nomadic cooling unit, if you look at a cruise and comfort, they're roughly between 7,000 and 9,000 BTUs, but they're also triple the cost. So keep that in mind. But again, you can have it as a portable machine. Now, with all of that said, I was actually recently up in Portland, Oregon, visiting some friends, doing some work. My buddy Mark at Nomadic Customs actually has one of these. In his shop, there is no air conditioning. It's a big old shop warehouse, but he has offices. Obviously, he does a lot of work in his office. And in his office, there were a couple other employees doing some computer work and other things. And they actually were running this AC unit to cool down that particular office. Took the edge off. Did it get it down to 70 degrees? No. But it was like 102 out that day, or 100 degrees outside that day. It brought it down to the 80s, which is a comfortable working temperature. In a warehouse with no AC and with like just sun beating down, and you trust me, that inside temperature can get upwards of 95 to 105 quite easily. However, Mark was running this inside of his, I guess, office, and it was cooling down the space easily 10 to 15 degrees cooler, and it felt so nice in there. Why am I bringing that up? Well, let's say you have a power outage in the middle of the summer. They have rolling blackouts sometimes, right? You can run this guy and cool down your space quite easily and nicely. Or you can put it into your van and you can cool it down with proper insulation. Will it cool you down completely? Will it bring you down to 65 degrees? No, I don't even think nomadic cooling or the cruise and comfort can get you down into that level, especially in these hot summer days. But will it be able to bring it down to 85 degrees, which is comfortable enough to sleep in? And that is really the name of the game. And if you have furry friends, animals, dogs, cats, maybe a ferret in a van or something like that, then it is also really nice to have something like this to keep your animal friends cold. Now, I am going to detach this right now so you guys can see how kind of easy that is. This is the one thing that I would actually change on the Zero Breeze. They have this plug here that connects the battery to the air conditioning unit, right? Obviously, this needs power to operate. Easy to remove, boom, boom, slides right off. And that's the battery right here. That's actually the bulk of the weight, by the way. So my point to this is, that battery runs out, then you can hook it up to a portable power station. I was recently traveling with my buddy Miles from Light Harvest Solar, and he actually has a portable power station, and we were actually linking this up directly to his portable power station. Entire package actually comes with a another one of like outlets like this where you can plug into the unit, and then it goes to a wall outlet which you can plug into either a wall or a portable power station. I guess technically it's DC power. However, because it's DC power because it's running off a battery. However, if you want to run it directly, like the unit directly off of another power station, it actually has to use AC power. If you were to charge this battery, you would have to use that same contraption with the wire, boom, and that charges this unit up. Here's the problem I don't like, is you can't do both. You can't run this and charge this. Only thing I would kind of change, I guess the only way that you could do it is by ordering a second like power cord. And if you order a second power cord, then you can charge this, and then you can also run this simultaneously. Somebody that lives in a van, I would actually highly recommend doing something like that. I don't know if Zero Breeze offers that, but that's probably the only thing that I would probably change with this whole situation. Okay, so now at the end of the video, I am going to turn on the unit so you guys can actually see it in use. But as I'm putting it back onto the battery, I am going to tell you, see how easy that was? I am going to tell you that I have seen these in a couple vans. Actually, my friend Shaden has it in his van, as well as Quinn from Ever Changing Horizon has it in his van. They have both actually love these units, and for the price, it's really nice. If you need obviously more cooling apparatuses, then yes, you probably want to go with either a roof mount, 12 volt AC unit like a nomadic cooling, or if you want to have just an AC unit, like you have to plug in to shore power to run it, like a Dometic Penguin is obviously okay. You also have a King Tech, which is out there, and then you have Cruise and Comfort, which is actually an undermount, so you don't take up that valuable roof space for solar panels and other things. But you're talking top of the line money right there. Some people don't have that in their budget. The other ones out there, there's Dometic is now making one that is 12 volt. I think the BTUs on it is like 5,500, so it's about double this. However, it's about $1,200 more than this unit, and it's not portable. Once you mount those suckers, you can't do much else with them. They're there. Boom. All right, as I was turning this actually turned on. Gives you a couple USB ports down here as well. They're gonna give you guys a light here in a second. Boom, lights. Power button would help. This is just a fan. It's in Celsius, I gotta fix that. It's kicking on. This is just in fan mode. This actually does tilt. Now, if you know how ACs work, these guys that link up to the back, that pulls air, they're supposed to run to the outside. This is probably the hardest thing if you were putting this into a van that you have to consider. Those tubes have to go to the outside. So for example, I believe Shaden that puts it in his van, I believe he runs it through the floor with screen protectors on it so nothing comes in, and then he has a directional on the inside to go wherever he wants to go on the inside. Now this is actually kicking on now, and then you can do cool mode, which is literally AC. Now I'm in my apartment right now, so I have my air conditioning running, so this probably isn't going to even really run much because I have it set to like 72 degrees in here. What I was saying was Shaden runs those tubes to the outside. You have to have that air pulling in from the outside, just like, I'm gonna turn this off, but just like any other air conditioning unit, the nomadic cooling, or the Cruise and Comforts. The Cruise and Comfort has a condenser underneath, and then the nomadic cooling have these two fans that are on top of the unit, and it pulls air from the outside, and then it goes through this, contraption in here, and maybe you guys know how air conditioners work, and then it comes out cool, right? You can't use the air from inside it just doesn't work that way. So you'd have to figure out how you're gonna mount all of that stuff to kind of make it all work. If you're in a tent, obviously you can just run the tubes outside, you could figure something out, you can makeshift something, Okay, so to wrap this video up, I will say that I feel that this unit is worth it if you are on a budget. If you don't really have a budget and you can spend a lot of money on a fixed AC unit, you may want something with a little more kick to it, a little more BTU power to it. But most of the people that I know that are in van life, a lot of the DIYers out there, that really have a strict budget, or they don't want to go over their budget by an exuberant amount, and then they realize that they hit summer, and the summer can be brutal in a van. This can actually literally it can save lives from heat exhaustion, but it can make a huge difference to not only yourself, but like I said earlier, your pets that are traveling with you. In regards to living in a van with one of these air conditioning units, you kind of have to make sacrifices in certain ways. Like I said, and I'm going to say it again, you're not going to get the air in the inside down to a 60 degrees, 65, or even 70 degrees on a 100-degree day. It also depends on humidity. Humidity is such a huge factor out there. If you're at like 90 degrees with 90% humidity, that's going to feel like it's 105. You're just going to be dripping with sweat as soon as you step outside. This will take the edge off. It's not going to get you down to 60 degrees. It might get you down to 80, 78 maybe. I don't know. But that really just depends on, again, climate, humidity, all of that good stuff. Keep all of that in mind while you're shopping around for air conditioning units. Do not like swamp coolers. I don't feel that they work. I've seen in action recently the Frez Air. The thing is with the Frez Air, they use an evaporating system, which is like an air cooling unit. It's not an air conditioning unit. That kind of concludes what my opinions are on the Zero Breeze. I do like it, and I would tell you if I did not like it. Will I be using it in my newest Ford Econoline van build? Yeah, I'm gonna use it in there. I just need to figure out how I'm gonna get those hoses to the outside, if I'm gonna makeshift it out the window, or I'm gonna put it through the floorboards, or I don't know. We'll find out. But I definitely will. I think it's cool. I like it a lot. So stay tuned for what I'm gonna do with that and Ghost 4. Yeah, let's wrap that up and call it a day, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.